welcome to another episode of Copy That. So this week, and I say this week like they come out all the time, and they totally don't. But it's here we are, the end of August, moving into the fall. It's been all back to school around my neck of the woods, and getting people to practices and ready for sports and a whole bunch of stuff. And so with that comes a certain amount of like chaos, but also order, which is kind of fun. And so today we're going to be talking with Myles Matsuno. I actually did this interview with him several months ago when he was just finished up a few projects. We talked through them all. We talked through his filmmaking career. We also talk about how I don't run very much and everything in between. So put your seatbelt on. Here we go. Another episode of Copy That. Thanks for listening. Myles, Thanks for being on the show today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I mean, I know this is elaborate, and you're thinking to yourself, where does he get the money for all of these newfangled things?
It's pretty fancy.
Yeah, it's very fancy. Side note, it's just a small recorder. Anyway, little audience note there. I don't
But
know.
a good recorder.
A fine one.
Yeah, very fine.
Yeah, at least better than average. Actually, I think it is average. I don't know.
It's good.
Anymore. Yeah.
It's good.
Well, Myles, thanks for being here. You are a filmmaker. You are a avid runner. A recent homeowner, and a dog lover.
I love my dog.
Yeah.
He's funny.
He is funny. I think dogs, the bigger they are, the better they are.
Yeah. He has
Not
FOMO.
that there's anything wrong with small dogs. I like those too.
Yeah.
But I just think big dogs are really funny. One, because usually they think they're very small, and then they try to sit on your lap, and it makes me laugh every time.
Yeah, and he does that every day.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, so for those who don't know, give me a little backstory on like where you're coming from. How long have you been in LA now?
I grew up in LA.
Okay, so there we go.
Born and raised. Yep.
Oh man, and then you. Well, we'll get to some other stuff in a minute, but
Okay.
but give us a little background on coming up. Why did you decide to pursue film? Here in town, I mean, one, because we know it's so easy. I'm sure that's one of it.
It's the easiest thing to do.
Possible.
Pursue filmmaking in Los Angeles. Yeah.
So where are you coming from?
All right. So, born and raised in Los Angeles, like I said. Father, he grew up. I mean, he was working in the entertainment industry, designing posters and doing stuff like that, DVD covers. So it was always around me, and growing up in LA, you see it everywhere. But I didn't feel like LA was Hollywood to me. It's home. It wasn't like a place where I saw the Hollywood. I would never go down Hollywood Boulevard and look at the stars and do any of that stuff. But I always knew that I loved telling stories, and I knew that film was a great medium for that. So in high school, never made a movie. And finally in college, I made a movie, my first movie. But the thing about college is I went to Tennessee for college. So I did the exact opposite, where I went out of the state and left Los Angeles to become a filmmaker, while other people come to Los Angeles to become a filmmaker. I wanted a different perspective, right? Because stories are all about perspective. So I went out there, very small town, Cleveland, Tennessee, Lee University. That's where I went to school, and started making movies. Made my first movie out there. Grabbed a camera because I wanted to be an editor. Didn't want to be a director, and the only way to do that was to film. You need content, right? Made a movie, did pretty good, and the rest was history. Came back to LA.
What was the name of that?
Oh gosh, A Thursday.
A Thursday.
Yeah.
Nice. My first movie was The Search for the Holy Latin Book Part 2.
Oh, nice title.
Yeah, I was in ninth grade. Anyway. I just wanted to see if anybody else had like a part 2 where they decided to start on a part 2.
Yeah.
It was a collaborative event. I actually wasn't involved with the film. I was actually more of an actor. I was every villain.
Oh, you were?
I literally would die in one scene and then I'd show up again in a different costume in the next scene.
Oh.
There's only one copy of this.
Sounds like General Hospital.
It pretty much was.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty much that. Or, yeah, like the worst kabuki theater you've ever seen was definitely that. Yeah, it was like I had a motorcycle helmet at one point, and then I had like a really bad wig that looked like Peter Brady, but I also wore like yellow rain boots. and that made me a villain.
Who did your wardrobe?
I did. Which was probably also part of the problem. Anyway, it was basically, I just raided a tub of costumes and I was like, yeah, this will work. I have a sweatshirt on. It's great. Anyway, someday I'll digitize that. Because it's only on VHS.
I can do it for VHS.
You. Do you know? Oh,
I can do it. I have the equipment. Like this fancy equipment in front of us.
As fancy as this. Mm-hmm. Wow. All right. So Lee University, when is this? Early 2000s?
No. 2009.
Okay, so we've just learned that you are much younger than I thought. Right now, we've just
now.
Just now.
Oh wow, this is awkward.
Yeah, it is. No, that's not bad. That's great. So, but you've been. I mean, you got right into commercials. Mm-hmm. You've been doing commercials. You started your own company, production company. You've been doing commercials. You've worked with big acts like, or big. Businesses like Spotify and who else?
All the Fies.
All the Fies.
Yeah, like
Shopify?
No, not Shopify.
Stupefy?
I did do their 14-day website trial though.
Oh, awesome. That's great.
I never built anything on it.
Perfect. Thank you. No, I would not like to continue. Please unsubscribe me.
Yes, Spotify in the works of something right now. With another big company, Lendify. So when I said Fies.
Wow, that is a lot of Fies. I mean,
Fi.
more than one Fi is kind of a lot.
Yeah, a lot of nonprofits.
Yeah, I'm familiar with those.
Yeah, so I've been doing a lot of different things.
Right on. And so the thing that I think is really fun and what I want to talk to you about is like you've been working on this project for the last, I don't know, what is it, like 5 months?
Yeah, we started filming in November.
In November last year.
Yeah.
And you're just starting to, you released a second piece. It's called We're the People. So tell me a little bit. I mean, I love the first two. I think they're really great, like snapshots of the people you've decided to do. And how many of them are there?
So far, I filmed about 8 people, filming someone next week.
Great.
I've done 7 of them.
And what's the goal? What are you thinking about it?
So the history kind of behind this whole series was when I first got my first camera, which was a 7D, and that was 2010 or something like that when the whole DSLR revolution hit.
Yeah.
I just want to film things. Like I would do things for free. I do, help people out. I just not asking for anything just because I wanted to film, right? That's how you learn. So a friend of mine asked to help her with some project she was doing on homeless people. And so I went down there and helped her. And what happened was I was seeing all this stuff around and I was like, and all these stories started to hit me. And I was like, okay, well, I started thinking of stories on homeless people. And so that's always kind of resonated with me. And I forgot what I called that title in the past, but just telling people stories, right? And so I've always thought about this concept, and then maybe October of this past year. So how many years? 9 years later, something like that. No, 8 years later, whatever.
Math isn't the strong suit of this show. Anyway.
And I'm half Asian, so yeah.
I don't think I'm allowed to say anything actually at all.
It's all good. And so, my buddy, one of my best friends, Matt Redfern, who is actually helping me with this series, he does really good photography. He's a huge reason why I started making them in the first place. Because I told him the idea, I wanted to make something, and he thought it was a great concept. So we're shuffling through names, and I do a lot of my thinking on my running while I'm running. And you mentioned I was a runner, so I was thinking We the People, and I started thinking. And I was like, we're the people. So I came across We're the People, and that's just kind of how I settled on that. But the whole idea is a conversation. Like you and me are having this conversation right now, right? We're just talking, not planned really. We're just having a conversation, and you're asking me questions. That's the same thing that I want to do with this series, and they are their stories, and it's going to expand. I won't tell you how it's going to expand and what I want to do. Maybe I'll tell you after.
Second act twist.
Oh, there's a lot of different twists, which is cool.
But they are gorgeous, though. I mean, they're really shot very well. Like, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of series that have been done, whether it was like the I Am Second, or it was, are you familiar with that?
Yeah. No.
It
I
was like
said, yeah,
just a
but no.
white chair, like in a room, and it was kind of overhead lit, and it was fine.
Okay.
I mean, but it was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This is really just sharp. I mean, I can tell like the full. I mean, you've decided to go black and white, and you decided to, or is it full black and white? It's kind of it's like
It's I definitely have like a unique color scheme to it. Yeah.
yeah. So it's a unique color grade. It's shot gorgeous. I can tell there's like, I mean, it's I don't. Did you what did you shoot it on?
Red.
Yeah, red. Yeah. So it's just big 4K
Yeah.
fun. And it's just really sharp. It's really sharp. And I really liked Lacy's just because it's pretty. I mean, when people talk about, I mean, it's mental health awareness month, but anytime somebody just says, "Hey, this is a thing I have,"
Right. Which that wasn't even planned. You know,
For real?
Yeah, filming Lacy and talking about mental health, that wasn't even planned. Yeah, like going into these, I don't know what they're going to tell me, you know, because it's their story. I'm just there to capture it. And it's my job to tell their story, and it's my job to tell it in an honorable way. And I always try to protect the people that I'm filming first. So, like, an example, there's this, I think I sent you the video clip of, you know, this guy who's going to be a future episode. And I probably spent an hour talking to that guy, Matt, about something he says. And he says something about the evangelical church. And I won't give it away, but he says something about it. And to me, even though like I have my own opinions, other people have their own opinions.
Sure.
He has his own opinion.
Right.
And would it do, is it, you know, is it my responsibility to hide that opinion, or do I tell his opinion? Because it is his opinion, it's his story.
Right, because you could make propaganda by editing him.
By editing him.
And slanting things and
right.
whatever.
You know, I wanted to protect him, but going through it all and just talking to Matt about it, at the end of the day, it's his story, you know, and I wouldn't want someone manipulating my story. No. You wouldn't want somebody manipulating your story, right?
No, I think our job's to make the best version of that.
Right. And so I kept it in there, and you know, it's his story. So if I'm telling these stories in a raw and real way, then that's what I have to do.
Sure.
Know? So.
Yeah, and it does seem, is it intentional about there does seem to be a, I don't know, it just feels like there's a faith undercurrent. Does that, I mean, definitely so far with Terry, but
and Lacy does too, and a couple others do as well, but no, it's not one of those things where it, you know, that's not like my reason why.
It's interesting though.
It is
an interesting thing that was, you put people down and they're going to talk about
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just kind of an interesting thing that is what poured out. That's pretty wild.
And it's cool filming these because it's not a big crew. You know, it's intimate. Right. It's like we're having coffee, talking. Yeah, it's like except there's just
4 of you?
Yeah, except a lot of equipment in a room.
Well, yeah, sure, so, of course. You know. Of course. Again, beautifully lit. So
well, with Lacy's actually it was just me and her.
Oh, for real? Oh, wow. Now, the other thing that jumps out, and it really is, it's funny, even before when we were talking about it, I didn't even get to quickly, like the thing that jumped out at me the most with Lacy's was the music. Like the music is just gorgeous. And because usually, again, with these kinds of things, it's, okay, now I've shot this thing and I spent all my money. I mean, classic filmmaker scenario. I spent all my money on the camera and lights and getting everything to look really good. And I got my sound and everything's sharp. And now I'm going to mix and master and color grade. Yes. Okay, I got to throw music in this. Right. And so I'm going to pull up xyz.com, whatever, and pay for some music. And it's the same music I've heard in 47 things.
Right.
And the music doesn't turn like it's supposed to, because that's a really big thing. And it just seems to change. And it just, like, I feel like Lacy's music was just like light. It's just very light throughout the whole thing. It's gorgeous. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So tell me a little bit about that, because it's pretty interesting.
Okay. So anybody that knows me as a filmmaker knows that I think music first. I film sometimes with headphones in while I'm filming. So I'm always listening to music. Music, to me, music and visuals are one and the same, you know? And so the guy that made the music, his name's Chad Lawson, and he is so talented. Like, I love this guy. We're good friends. And, you know, with Chad, we just connect. Like, I edit it, and and I'll sometimes I listen to his music while I'm editing, and he cuts something and does, usually it's like the first minute or whatever, like, how's this vibe feel? And I think only one time I was like, it's good, but doesn't really fit the vibe. But he every time knocks it out of the park. And if you strip Chad's music and I put something else in there, I mean, his stuff is just incredible. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I think it really just lifts the whole thing.
Yeah, he's just
it's wild. And so he's worked on crazy stuff like lore, like what else?
Lore. He's a Steinway artist. He's traveling all over the place.
I was gonna say he's got like I was looking on his IMDb, and it's like he's got like 9 things in the pipeline right now.
Yeah,
it's like whoa.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So that's always good.
You stalking Chad?
A little bit.
Okay.
A little bit. I mean, I'm not.
No
gonna
shame
deny
in the
it.
game.
I'm not going to deny it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not like outside his house with a boombox or anything, but anyway,
I'm gonna text Chad and tell him a guy might stand outside your house with a boombox.
If you see a bearded man and he's not small, run. just get out of there, man.
And he's holding a microphone.
Yeah. Now, another thing we should talk about is like this last year. Has it been 2 years yet with making Last to Go or First to
Go? Yes, I started filming that in 2015, finished it in 17.
Oh wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so First to Go is such a close family story. Like that's what I just think is absolutely
super
wild.
Scared to tell
Again, why don't you? I don't want to spoil it. It's your story to tell.
Okay.
So tell me about that.
Yeah. So First to Go is based off the Japanese internment camps and my family history on that. My great grandfather Ichiro was the first Japanese prisoner taken in San Francisco because he owned this hotel, and he was a prominent figure in San Francisco. So the FBI came and just literally knocked down the door and just took him. And he didn't see his family for like 3.5, 4 years after that. And so he was on the front page of the San Francisco Examiner. And I have that picture hanging up in my house now of, handcuffed FBI agents. And it's just a wild part of our history. And I wanted to document it, not so I can show the world at first. I just wanted to have something to show my family. And that's the most important thing for me. But, it's been fun, going to festivals and getting to just make that aware of people, and how many people didn't even know that existed. It's crazy to me. Like, they're like, wait, we did that in America? And it's like, yeah, we did that. Like,
to American citizens?
Yeah, to America. Yeah, like definitely. That's a thing, that happened. And so it's been fun because the film isn't anti-America.
No.
And my family still loves America. Like, they're Americans, right? So the thing about the film was my focus was to just shine light on a subject that actually happened, but in an inspiring way, and show that good could come from bad situations. Mm-hmm. And once again, the music in that was first and forefront. And one of my best friends, Emmanuel Davis, he scored.
I don't think you're pulling any punches by saying, and then the FBI came, and then then this is when my grandmother, this is where she lived, and this is what happened. And I just think, man, I mean, it's just such a dark mark. I think it's just such a dark mark on the U.S. and a lot of fear driving people to do crazy things and terrible things. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it gets more than about a sentence or two in most history books.
No,
because it is.
I didn't. Yeah, at my school it was like, and we took the Japanese to internment camps. Anyway, back to Nazi Germany. It's like it's exactly how it is. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, what happened? What do you mean? And you don't really catch that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know about today, what the history books are like today. Maybe they've changed, but who knows?
I don't know, because I still feel like people are like, wait, this was the thing we did. So what you've got a couple things in the hopper right now coming up, and you've got a feature you just finished.
Yeah.
Did it finish? Did you finish last fall? Final mixed master color?
No, I finished like 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. Okay. 3 weeks ago. And you've been working on that for like 1.5 years, right?
Yeah. It is no joke making a feature film.
It is not.
It is
I hear it's really easy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it doesn't cost anything.
No, it's pennies,
It is really funny to think about that in light of, so now Rodriguez does his first film, $7,000.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good?
I love his book.
Well, sure, but the whole idea of like, okay, can I do that right now? Like, is that a thing?
Yeah. Someone actually asked him that question in some
Yeah,
interview.
he did held some contest and some finance thing, and he was like, "I'll throw up the $7,000, and you go do it."
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, but I think if we have to at least talk, I think $20,000 now based on inflation, and then which is still in the grand scheme of film not a lot of money, but that's still very hard to pull off.
Oh yeah.
If you're renting, that's borrowing everything.
Yeah.
And everybody's working for next to nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it can be done, but you're also going to be the director, the producer, the editor, the everything. So
Yeah, and it's going to take 2 years.
yeah.
That's the other part. It's like, well, yeah, you can do it, but
Yep.
I don't know. So it's a wild time. It's still very Wild West, but not at the same time. It's like corporate-y.
It is Wild West. That's interesting because it was more Wild West in 2010.
Right.
You know, when everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, this Canon 5D shoots 1080 and
Right.
it's so crisp."
Right.
You know, like Crazy, that movie Like Crazy got bought at Sundance and it was shot on 70s or something like that with good lenses. You can still make it look good with good lenses, but yeah.
Yeah, and then now we have a billion different places that you could get that content.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's just as much as there's a billion different places for that content, and I don't mind the hustle at all.
Yeah.
But there's also there's a billion different people who are clamoring.
Yeah.
And
it's getting more crowded.
Well, and the fun part to me about filmmaking just in general is that, like, because GoPros and 7Ds and the relative camera prices come so far down. I mean, you can get a camera and an operator, I think, for like $250 a day.
Yeah.
In some places, which is crazy.
That's
so
crazy.
cheap. That's so cheap. With a full camera package, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's not lenses, that's not a couple other things, it's not lights, but it's still that's wild. But there's just a lot of people clamoring around trying to pay their rent and live and tell stories and do stuff, and it's just a lot of hustle, a lot of hustle. So tell me a little bit about tell us about your feature. Tell us about when it's coming out, what your plans are to do with it, because this is the big thing. Like, I think a lot of people go, oh, I'm going to move to LA, I'm going to make that feature, I'm going to make some shorts, and then I'm going to do the feature. And so you're actually there at the end now of that a lot of those first goals that people say when they come into town.
Yeah.
And then the fun part is, how long did this take? Like, if from the time getting out of school to right now?
2000, like 12 years.
12 years, right. So an overnight success.
Yeah, overnight.
Right. This is also the other part that cracks me up, is that as we were talking about, you can do something like this, or you want to do that hustle and you want to get things going, and you're getting your film career together, or your music career together, or your writing career together, and it's like, well, this should work in about 18 months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
No.
How about a decade?
And by the way, my math was off again.
Yeah?
It was 10 years.
10 years. Oh, there we go.
2009, 2019. That's
Okay.
that's
That's
an
actually
easy
a
one.
pretty good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, so tell us a little bit. So tell me a little bit about the movie and what's going on with it.
Yeah. So Christmas in July is what it's called. Feature film starring Riley McClendon, Lacy Hartselle, and Aaron Ownby, and filmed in Tennessee. It's about a grandson who throws Christmas early for his dying grandmother who has Alzheimer's. And so, I optioned this film back in 2013-ish, I think, from a writer named Brett Cofford. And we were judging a film festival together at the time. And at the time, it was like in the hands of somebody in San Diego. I don't know the whole backstory, but
There's a book?
No. It was just a script.
Oh, just a script. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And this isn't based on the first Christmas in July from the 40s. It's like a completely different story. So that fell through, like what doesn't in LA, right?
Yeah.
And so he came to me, and I had just made my first big short film called Ella, and it was doing pretty well. And he loved the movie, and he said, I would love for you to make Christmas in July. I think you can do something with it. And I read the story, and I was like, okay, well, I read the story, and I liked it. I liked what it could be, and so I liked for me, what I need to gravitate towards a story. I need to gravitate towards something in the script that is heartfelt, inspirational, and is meaningful, right? So those are like usually the three things that I look for. And with Christmas in July, I found all those things. So pitched it to a bunch of different places in LA. No one was like gung ho on it. They're like, "Oh, cute story," but it's not for us.
Right.
You hear that all the time. Not a
Sure.
big deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's the Hollywood yes.
Yeah.
No.
And so
Or the Hollywood no. It's a
Hollywood.
Yes. The Hollywood no is a yes.
Yeah.
But it's more of a go check these boxes and then come back.
Yeah.
They just want first right of refusal. It's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah. And so I finally got the opportunity to make it, and that was in 2017. So all those years later, and I made it.
Great. Mm-hmm. Okay, so now it's all made. It's done 3 weeks ago, in the can, 100%. Mm-hmm. So what does it look like now? Do you go out with it? Are you going to do the festival thing? Are you going to sell it?
Both.
What are you both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Had a good conversation today actually on it. But yeah, it got invited to a ton of festivals, and so I applied to those festivals, and then at the same time you hold meetings for distribution, right? So right now, since it's been 3 weeks, I took like 2 weeks off. Like I did not want to even like see the film anymore. Like right. I don't want to do anything with the film.
How many times do you think you've seen it?
Oh my gosh, too many.
Too many.
Yeah. I would say 30.
30? Wow.
Like I quote the movie now. Like,
there you go.
Now when I hear it, I don't even have to watch it because I can see it in my head. That's
wow.
how many times I've seen it. Yeah. Don't want to watch it anymore.
Got it.
But it's all good.
It's funny. That's exactly how every musician I've ever heard after they get done making the album, and then they tour with the album, and they're like 3 weeks into the tour, and then you're like, "So how's everything going?" They're like, "I'm done with this album." It's like, oh. And they're like, "Do you guys want to hear old stuff? Anybody?
Right?
How about new stuff?"
Yeah. No one ever wants to hear the new stuff. They always want to hear what they know.
Right. Well,
and they want to sing along.
Unless the new stuff is a straight banger.
That's true.
But
yeah.
That's true. My experience. So, okay, so looking to take meetings, looking to sell this for, theatrical, for streaming?
Yeah, theatrical.
Okay, great.
Theatrical first and then streaming afterwards. So
sweet.
That's where we're at currently with this film.
Great.
And so, it's a whole other thing that you kind of just go with the punches and you roll with it. You just one day at a time.
You just don't know.
Yeah.
That's the fun part.
Yeah.
And also the terrifying part.
Very terrifying. But also fun.
Yeah,
very fun.
It's really funny because we were talking earlier about if you could do something else, you should do it. Because I know that some people hear that, like what we just said, and we're like, yep, that's the reality. Like, yeah, and I'm going to sleep fine tonight. Whereas there are some people who would go, how? What? You can't plan on anything? I'm awake forever. So we're the people. We have several more that are going to get released, and then there's going to be some sort of plot twist, multiple different plot twists. Then we can see your stuff. Where can we see your stuff?
What stuff?
I want to watch it. So your YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
Where do we see?
Most of my stuff's on Vimeo, and so Where the People's on YouTube and Facebook. I'm only having my trailer on my Vimeo page just because I want to keep that separate.
Sure.
But yeah, on YouTube and on Facebook, it's Where the People series, and Lacy and Terry on there right now. And as every Thursday, I release them, and we'll see how it goes.
Sweet. So, and I'll put links in the show notes for that. What about if I want to check out, what do we do for a website and see like your work?
You can go to www.mylesmatsuno.com.
Man, you're just keeping them guessing.
Yeah.
Keeping them guessing.
My name.
Yeah. And great. And then I'll also put a link in there for that, but also for the Christmas in July. Very exciting. Because you've got the trailer's out.
Yeah, the teaser trailer. Yeah, I released it like I don't know, a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I got bored and I was like, I'm just gonna make a little trailer. So I did in a night, and then that's what came out.
Sweet. What haven't we covered that we should know? What are you digging right now? Is there any kind of like weird thing? I know you do. We've talked about running a little bit, but that seems to be a secondary like passion. I don't know if it's a passion.
Running's changed my life.
How so?
It just I grew up playing sports. Basketball was huge in my life, and golf too. But running, honestly, like it just pushes you mentally in a different capacity than anything I've ever done in my life. And how I got into marathon running was a buddy of mine. We were sitting at a bar, and he was about to run the LA Marathon. And I was like, I've always wanted to run the LA Marathon. I hadn't been training, and it was 3 weeks out, and I signed up and I ran it.
No, you did not.
Yeah.
Did you just die?
No.
Are you?
Yeah.
You're that guy? You're that guy?
I had a great time.
I guess I'll just run a marathon. It's fine.
I mean, looking back on the pictures and what I had strapped to my body,
Yeah.
meaning like a huge fanny pack, a Snickers bar, like all this stuff that I would never eat now. But,
Right.
Maybe that's why I had a good time, because I was just eating Snickers.
Yeah. I hear it satisfies.
Yeah.
That's what I hear. And it must have for 26.2 miles or whatever. Is that right? 26.2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you feel smart. But really, like 3 weeks out?
Yeah,
You just,
3 weeks
I mean,
out.
so what did you do for training? Like that you would just like run 10 miles and be
Well-
like, yeah, I think I feel okay.
Yeah, I mean, I had been running on the treadmill, and I would just run 4 miles and just run for whatever, just for cardio purposes. But I was playing basketball a lot at the time too. And so I was like, well, I better try to run at least 12 miles, right? So I went outside and I ran 12 miles, and I was like, okay, well, that was fine. So if I can do that and keep this up at that pace, then
You'd be thinking, all right. How old were you at this time?
I was 26.
Oh, okay. Well,
No, 28.
28. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
And now I'm hooked.
Bam.
Well, because,
And now you've run in a whole bunch of stuff, right? Like how many marathons have you done now?
well, when I found out that, you have to qualify to get into certain races.
Right.
That's the athlete that triggered in me and was like,
Sure.
okay, I want to qualify for the Boston Marathon. So I did. And that was my goal. And now I'm just trying to get better.
Got it. Wow. So you ran the Boston Marathon.
Twice. Love that.
Yeah, it was like last year, right?
Mhm.
last
Yeah,
year?
when it was like the crazy storm.
Yeah,
And I just ran New York, qualified
Okay.
for that one, and now I'm running Chicago.
Wow. All right. When do they do that one?
That's in October.
So that'll be nice and cool.
Yeah. I need a training partner. You down?
I am not down. I am not. Usually, the last time I was found running was if there's a bear attack. I think that's about it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I'm working on that. Anyway, all right. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty wild. So we can check out your stuff. I'm going to put the links in the show notes. Myles, thanks. Anything else that you've been just like checking out that you're digging, that you're like, oh, this is kind of cool? Anything, any cool stuff in your sphere?
Like personally, or just things that
Anything.
I've seen? I really like that common hymnal thing that just,
Oh yeah, I saw
yeah,
that.
I really like that.
It's pretty neat.
That's been
It's
like,
a little preachy, but
yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
No. All right, I'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah.
Myles, thanks so much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me, Dan.
And that's our episode. Thank you so much for listening. And big thanks to Myles Matsuno for talking with us about his filmmaking career. Please check out the links in the show notes. He's got a lot going on, very neat stuff. And really check out that We're the People series. There are several, since our interview several months ago, there have been several, I don't know how many exactly, but I'd say probably, let's see, I don't know, 7 or 8 videos that you can check out. And they all vary in length from, 2 minutes to 5 minutes, even ones as long as 8 minutes. And they're really neat. So I'd encourage you to check them out. The last bit of news is you are the first to hear it, that back in 2012, I wrote a book called The Nonprofit Narrative. It did phenomenally better than I ever thought it would. And so I've actually got an update that's happening to the book. Some of the things that I talked about in the book I've changed my approach a little bit, so I wanted to update the book so the people who bought the book can also check it out. So if you've bought it digitally, you're going to get a quick update on it. And if you haven't bought it, this is a great time to get it. And I've also created some additional bonus materials that are going to be available on my website. I have also about 5 interviews that I'm actually going to play here on the podcast for the next several weeks. With people who checked out my book, and it's kind of the story of what they did with it. And I think it's really neat. I feel very inspired by it, and it's weird because someone took something that I made and then went and did something, and it's been phenomenally inspiring to me as well. And so it's kind of a wild thing, but you're the first to hear. I haven't actually talked about it anywhere else, and I probably won't until it's actually out. So that'll be next week, the first week of September, that will be out. And yeah, check it out. If you haven't, that's okay too. Maybe go check it out. But that is it. Thank you so much for listening. And my name's Dan Portnoy. Have a great one and be safe.